What's up everyone, thanks for watching. My name is Lead Paint and I want to walk you through my tutorial video. This is going to be a tutorial video for players at all levels. Intermediate, beginner, advanced, master, grandmaster. In fact, one of the tips I'm going to throw in at the end is going to be something a lot of pro players don't even know. So I'm going to start off with a beginner tip, and this is going to kind of work its way up and all work together, so stick with me on this video. So first and foremost, what I want you guys to do is go over here to options, mouse and keyboard, and what I want you to do is two things. The first is change your cursor size all the way up to max. I know starting off it looks a little weird because this is what you've gotten used to. Well, one of the things you want to do is turn it to max, and this helps your eye track the mouse better. And whether you realize it or not, but the more that starts to happen on screen, you're dodging more and more spells, your character's having to move the camera up and down, left, right, center, all these other things while getting off your spells. And as things start to get more heated, it becomes a lot easier to lose your cursor in the middle of that fight. And so a really easy way around this is to make your cursor really big. It doesn't have any drawback in game. It doesn't affect your tracking as far negatively in any way, shape, or form. So it's just a really, really easy thing that anyone can do to have a really good effect on their gameplay. So the next, and this is going to move on to a little bit more of an intermediate tip, right? Now, this is what you're going to want to do, and by the way, I recommend that everyone does this, whether you're a beginner or a pro. Everyone should be doing these things right away. And so my intermediate tip is this. It's your mouse scroll speed. And the reason I say it's an intermediate tip is because you're already going to be a little bit more accustomed to how to move the camera. You're going to know how to kind of play your characters. You've got some of the meta down a little bit. Well, this is where you're going to want to start to implement this into your gameplay. So mouse scroll speed. So what I want to show you is what I'm going to do is move that all the way up to 90%. But first, I'm going to show you what it's like without it. So look how slow this is. It's really, really slow. In fact, it actually takes about 2 seconds, 2 full seconds. So I got Vala right here. It's going to take me about 2 full seconds to scroll my camera from one side of the screen all the way to the other. So one full screen, right? So here goes. 1, 2. Okay, let's do it again here, right? So there's Vala. 1, 2. Okay, that's really slow. And one of the things that's so important an understanding is that when it comes to mastering HOTS, right, and really getting into this game and starting to maximize your playability in it, well, you're going to have to get your APM up. And your APM is actions per minute. This is a term that comes from a lot of RTS games like StarCraft. Now, APM, what it is in a nutshell, is the ability for you to move and to have more actions per minute. So the more time I'm spending moving my camera, the less time I'm actually doing things, meaning the less time I'm moving. I mean, sure, I could shift click and queue up some stuff and then move my camera, but I mean, let's be honest, that is completely impractical. So my tip for intermediate players is to start off by moving this up by about 15% every single week. And then, go up to 65%, then go to 80%, then go to 90%, kind of keep doing that. And the idea is that you want to slowly move this up so you can get used to it. If you're feeling a little bit more ambitious, like you can handle it right away, then go ahead and turn this straight up to 90% just right off the bat. And I'm going to show you what the result is. So now I'm at 90%. Watch this, right? So I got Vala right here. Watch how fast I can move from left to right. So here goes. 1, done. 1, done. 1, done. I mean, it is twice as fast. So I'm literally doubling my time to move my mouse around, right? So this is what becomes like a really, really nice thing to be able to start to do and manipulate your camera. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, well, hey, why don't I go ahead and kick that up to 100%? Well, for some really weird reason, as soon as you hit this to 100%, it gets almost reckless, like with how fast it reacts, and it gets too jumpy. So I just don't really recommend it. 90% is so close to that 100 mark, but it stays slightly more consistent. If you find that on your screen or screen size you don't have an issue with 100% in your mouse sensitivity, then go ahead and turn that, turn it to 100. But I personally leave this at about 90. I find it just works better. This is my personal experience on it. So I'm also going to show you another trick when it comes to movement. Now, this is actually going to be a trick that affects a lot of master and grandmaster players. This is going to help you increase your APM once again, and it's a really simple camera trick. So remember how I told you it took me 1 second to cover screen to screen, right? Well, watch this. So here goes, right? So 1, done, okay? Watch this. 1, done. Okay, I'm not even there. It's like it takes half a second. And so what is it that I'm doing? Well, it's a really simple action. If I want to quickly move up or down and I'm off screen, you spacebar and tap down, spacebar and tap up, spacebar and tap down, right? So all I'm doing is just tapping the screen for just a second here. So pay attention to where my mouse is, right? This massive cursor. Now you're starting to realize why that beginner step, hey, make your cursor really big, starts to become really important. So watch this. So I tap the screen. That's it, right? That's all I'm doing. So if I want to move and click and tap, I can keep doing that, right? Well, it's really simple. Well, if I want to move my screen up, watch this, tap, and I'm already over here now. That is a very, very advanced tip. That's for people that are going to be in Master and Grandmaster, because you are adding a rather complicated level of play to your mouse movement. This is going to increase your APM. It's something that I recommend anyone who feels ambitious in doing to try and do it yourself. It's going to take quite a bit of practice. And in all honesty, it might seem kind of lame, but get into try mode and just do this, or do this at the start of the match, right? That's all you got to do. And it'll really start to increase your camera move speed, your APM, your overall gameplay. You can do it at the start of every single game, guys. Just practice, practice, practice. It makes perfect in this scenario. So now I'm going to move in to what is a much more advanced tip. And there's actually two parts to this. The first is what I would actually consider to be a very beginner or intermediate tip. And it's going to translate into something that a lot of pros don't actually know. So here goes, right? So I have intentionally set all of my things to the default, right? And the default is to press Q and then click again and it fires. Same thing right over here, right? Well, the problem with this is that when I want to start to use my abilities really quickly, watch what happens. Like, I just had to press 6 spells. Now, the reason that's so important to understand, or sorry, 6 spells, I misspoke there. I had to click 6 times. Right? So here goes. I'm going to count it out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? It's super slow, guys. Like, I cannot begin to express to you how impossible it is, right? There's a couple of things. If I'm in the middle of moving and I press Q, well, it cancels. That's really, really irritating, right? I can do both and try to do that, but it's so inconsistent as to when you actually do it. And at this point, you're just spamming, right? And it's not ideal, because now I'm having to do that while managing my camera movement and do all this other stuff. Your APM, even if you can get it really high, it's just clunky. So the advice that I have for everyone out there, go hotkeys. Go to Quick Cast Settings. I set global quick cast settings to on, and I'm going to explain that in just 1 second, and this is the pro tip, right? I'm going to explain why in just a second. But starting off, I'm going to show you what it looks like to have quick cast on and why this is so important when it comes to this. Because all I have to do is move my mouse in an area and click a spell, right? So remember how I had to click 1, 2, 3, 4. It was really irritating, both probably to watch and listen to, and I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to show you one more time here with quick cast on. It's just, I'm clicking, right? That's it. I can attack, I can fire, I can roll, I can vault. I mean, I could do all that kind of stuff. It's much faster. So I'm dramatically increasing my APM while reducing the the strain, so to speak, that's actually being put on the player for having to click so many abilities and so many things so quickly. So the tip a lot of you have been waiting for, if you've been sticking around, thank you very much. Here goes. This is the pro level tip that I have. Here, what it is. Hot, I don't know what the heck that even means. Quick cast settings, guys. All right. On release, don't do it. And I know a lot of pro players use this. And I cannot tell you how bad this is. So watch this. I'm going to go to on release, right? This is a really, really big tip here. So on release across the board, and this, by the way, affects anyone whether you're starting out in beginner or pro. This is what happens. If I click Q and let go, it fires. Same with W, right? So I have to effectively do 2 actions. I have to press and then release in order to get the spell to fire. So if I press Q and try to move, it cancels, and nor do I move, right? So that's a Q, right click, I can't fire. Well, this affects your APM when you actually get fast, really fast. Watch this. So listen to my keyboard. I'm going to press 2 keys very, very quick with each other in succession, right? So watch what just happened. Right? That is super bad. to slow this down and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. It's actually, I don't know if this is a bug or if that's the right thing to say, but this is a really big issue with on release. If you queue up a spell, not literally queue, but if you queue up a spell, meaning press and hold, and then you press another key, not A, if you press another key in the middle of it, nothing happens. It'll fire as soon as you let go of that first spell. So it'll actually override. So what you're doing is you're actually capping your APM. You're putting a hard cap on how fast you can actually press spells. So I can do this, right? But the problem is that I want to do everything instant. I want to get it out now. Why? Because I'm still moving my camera, right? I'm still doing all those tricks. I'm still clicking, moving, landing all my stutter steps. And I want to be able to get my APM as high as humanly possible, because the more I'm moving, the more accurate my spells are. Meaning if I want to burst a guy and that happens, you know how detrimental that is? Or worst case scenario, watch this. What if I want to do my full combo, right? And I want to slow them first with a multi-shot, then hit them with the hungering arrow, then vault, then do another Q, right? I just wasted a cooldown. I only fired one hungering arrow. So I'm going to show you with cooldowns off so you can see what I'm talking about. I only fired one hungering arrow. That is where this becomes a really, really big detriment. And I know Val is a really easy entry-level character for a lot of people, but it's so important for you guys to really understand why this is so detrimental. I'm going to show you with one more level of complication, right? I'm going to start to throw in my ult. Right? Fires the second one. Awesome. Watch this. Right? It's really weird, the interaction that you start to see. So let's turn off cooldowns. So watch this. That is really problematic. I don't want to miss a spell in the middle of it when I'm doing all that, because I'm not even throwing in an auto attack in the middle yet, right? I'm not doing my frost shock QR, auto. It's like I'm not even doing any of that yet. And notice, by the way, it didn't vault. It just skipped over that spell when I clicked it right there. So this is the problem with it. So watch what happens when I go back to hotkeys, go to quick cast settings, and change all of these back to the quick cast setting on. And mind you, to give you a quick disclaimer, there are certain abilities with certain heroes in this game that I don't recommend you use quick cast for. Like for example, Chromie. I really recommend that you set her to on release, because any spell that has an actual cast animation like Chromie's Sandblast or her Dragon, well, you can't override it anyway, because you're stuck waiting for the animation for her to lift her arms up and throw the spell out, right? So I changed those to on release because it just kind of helps with your accuracy. But when you have characters that don't have any cast animation, and I can cast 2 spells at once, right? Because by the way, if a lot of you don't know that, listen to what I'm doing again, right? Listen to the keyboard here. Both spells, 1 click. Do you know how much faster your APM increases when you can do that? When I can sit here, look at this, literally click A, Q, W all at once and have that happen? I mean, think about that, right? It is so much faster, guys, right? To be able to do that. I cannot begin to explain to you why this is so critical to master and why you should stop handicapping yourself with your settings. So, quick recap for you guys. Cursor size, set it all the way big. Mouse scroll speed, 90%, 80%. Go 90%. Then, hotkeys, quick cast setting, default everything to on. Change abilities to on release specifically per circumstance, if you will, based on what hero it is and what ability, because some abilities just don't interact the same way. Anyway, that's my advice for you. I hope this video helps a lot of you out in really exploring, mastering your level of skill at HOTS. Thanks for watching. Comment below if you want me to cover anything else or think I missed something or have a different opinion entirely. Give it a like, subscribe, the whole 9.